1. Mexico builds $51 million sterile fly plant to fight screwworm and boost U.S. cattle trade. 2. Flesh-eating maggots invade Texas? U.S. airdropping sterile flies. 3. U.S. plans to release millions of sterile flies over Texas to combat flesh-eating maggots. 1. Mexico builds $51 million sterile fly plant to fight screwworm and boost U.S. cattle trade. A silent threat is creeping across the border, jeopardizing livestock and trade between the U.S. and Mexico. But there's a plan in motion to fight back, and it involves millions of flies. Mexico is taking a significant step to protect its cattle industry and restore trade relations with the United States. The Mexican government announced on Monday that it's constructing a $51 million facility in the southern part of the country. This isn't just any building, it's a specialized plant designed to combat the screwworm, a parasitic pest that's been causing major headaches for both countries. This screwworm, as seen in this image, USDA/Denise Bonilla/handout via Reuters/file photo, is a nasty little critter. It's essentially a fly larva that infests livestock and wildlife. These maggots burrow into the skin of living animals, causing severe wounds and often leading to death. Imagine the suffering and the economic impact on farmers. And this is the part most people miss. The facility, a joint project with the U.S., will produce a staggering 100 million sterile screwworm flies every week once it's completed in the first half of 2026. The strategy is ingenious. Release these sterile flies into the wild. They'll mate with the fertile screwworms, but no offspring will be produced, thus reducing the overall population of the pest. It's a form of biological control, a way to manage a pest population without relying on harmful chemicals. The United States, recognizing the severity of the problem and the importance of its trade relationship with Mexico, is contributing $21 million to the project, while Mexico is investing $30 million. This collaborative effort highlights the shared interest in eradicating the screwworm and ensuring the health of livestock. The screwworm's recent resurgence in Mexico prompted the U.S. to take drastic measures. On May 11, the U.S. closed its southern border to imports of certain livestock, including cattle, from Mexico. This was a significant blow to Mexican ranchers and the agricultural economy. Fortunately, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced a phased reopening of imports of cattle, bison, and horses from Mexico on June 30. Ports are gradually reopening, starting with Douglas, Arizona. But here's where it gets controversial. The U.S. is also taking action on its own soil. The USDA plans to open a sterile fly dispersal facility in Hidalgo County, Texas, further demonstrating the commitment to eradicating the screwworm. This dual approach, a joint facility in Mexico and a U.S.-based facility, underscores the seriousness of the situation and the need for a comprehensive strategy. This whole situation raises some interesting questions. Is this sterile fly method the most effective way to combat the screwworm? Are there any potential unintended consequences of releasing millions of sterile flies into the environment? What are your thoughts on this approach? Do you think it's a good solution, or do you have alternative ideas? Share your opinions in the comments below. ***. 2. Flesh-eating maggots invade Texas? U.S. airdropping sterile flies. In a surprising turn of events, the federal government has unveiled plans to deploy millions of sterile flies across Texas and Mexico from the skies. This unconventional strategy aims to combat a gruesome threat: the flesh-eating maggots of the New World screwworm fly. But here's where it gets controversial. The New World screwworm, a pest once thought to be eradicated from the U.S. since 1966, has made a disturbing comeback following an outbreak in Mexico. The larvae of this fly lay their eggs in open wounds of live animals, including cattle and horses, leading to potentially fatal infections as the maggots burrow into the flesh. To tackle this resurgence, the Department of Agriculture, USDA, plans to intensify the breeding of male flies, sterilize them with radiation, and then release them into the wild. The idea is that these sterile males will mate with wild females, resulting in infertile eggs that fail to hatch, thereby gradually reducing the fly population. The USDA is set to open a new fly factory in southern Mexico by July 2026 and a distribution center in southern Texas by year-end. This center will facilitate the import of sterile flies from Panama if necessary. The agency's aggressive approach underscores the severity of the threat posed by the New World screwworm. And this is the part most people miss: the economic and health implications of this pest. The recent outbreak prompted the USDA to shut down the import of cattle, horses, and bison along the southern border in May. This move highlights the potential for widespread economic damage to the livestock industry, not to mention the health risks to both animals and humans. Interestingly, between 1962 and 1975, a joint effort by the US and Mexico successfully eradicated the New World screwworm by releasing over 94 billion sterile flies. The current plan draws on this historical success, albeit with modern advancements in breeding and distribution techniques. As the USDA ramps up its efforts, the question remains: will this aerial assault on the New World screwworm be enough to prevent another full-blown outbreak? What are your thoughts on this unconventional pest control method? Share your opinions in the comments below. 3. U.S. plans to release millions of sterile flies over Texas to combat flesh-eating maggots. Imagine millions of flies being intentionally released from airplanes over Texas. Sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, right? But this is a real plan by the U.S. government, and it's stirring up plenty of debate. Here's why. The Department of Agriculture, USDA, is gearing up to unleash swarms of sterile flies across Texas and northern Mexico to battle a dangerous enemy: flesh-eating maggots that threaten the nation's livestock industry. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this the best way to protect our animals, or could it backfire? Let's break down what's happening. The USDA has announced a large-scale operation to breed millions of green bottle flies, specifically targeting the larvae of the New World screwworm, NWS fly. These flies, after being sterilized with radiation, will be dropped from planes over affected regions. The goal? To stop the screwworms from reproducing and ultimately wipe out their population. To make this happen, a new fly production facility is set to open in southern Mexico by July 2026. Shortly after, a distribution center will be established in southern Texas to handle the import and release of these sterile flies. This isn't just a small experiment. This is a massive coordinated effort. So how does this strategy work? The science is actually pretty fascinating. By releasing only sterile male flies, the USDA hopes these males will mate with wild female screwworms. Since the males are sterile, the eggs laid by the females won't hatch. Over time, this dramatically reduces the number of larvae, and the screwworm population collapses. This method, known as the sterile insect technique, has been used before with notable success. But what exactly is the New World screwworm? These flies are notorious pests, native to places like Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and parts of South America. While they usually live in forests, they're drawn to open fields where livestock graze. The real danger comes from the female screwworm, which lays her eggs in the wounds of living animals. When the eggs hatch, the maggots burrow deep into the flesh, causing severe injury or even death to the host. The name screwworm comes from the way the larvae twist into the flesh, much like a screw boring into wood. And this is the part most people miss. The threat isn't just theoretical. The U.S. had actually eradicated the NWS fly by 1966, after years of hard work and international cooperation. But recently, the pest has made a comeback in Texas, following an outbreak in Mexico. In response, the USDA quickly halted imports of live cattle, horses, and bison from the southern border to prevent further spread. This move alone has sparked heated discussions among ranchers and border officials. Here's a bit of history. Between 1962 and 1975, the U.S. and Mexico released over 94 billion sterile flies to eliminate the screwworm. Back in the 1950s and 60s, these pests cost American ranchers up to $100 million a year in livestock losses. The eradication was considered a major victory, until now. But what about humans? Could these flesh-eating maggots target people, too? According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), the risk is real, especially for those traveling to affected regions, spending time around livestock, or sleeping outdoors with open wounds. Even people recovering from surgery could be at risk, as the flies are attracted to exposed sores. While screwworm infestations in humans are rare in the U.S., The possibility is enough to make anyone uneasy. So what do you think? Is releasing millions of sterile flies the smartest way to protect our livestock and economy? Or does it raise new risks we haven't considered? Some experts argue it's a proven, science-based solution, while others worry about unintended consequences. Could there be a better way? Or is this the only option we have left? Share your thoughts below. Do you support this bold plan or do you have concerns? Let's get the conversation started.